every time that music starts, I'm like, do, 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 do. I don't know why. So welcome back, everybody. We are officially live. We're doing our week five? Yeah, week 5 recap.
Wow.
And Colorado's in a bye week. Like, I feel like we wait so long for football season to start and we analyze and we overdo this and we do all this stuff. And then when you look up and you're like, they've already played 1/3 of their games. Like, hold on a second. It's about to be October. So it's kind of crazy. Actually, this video is going to release October 1st. And that's crazy to me because I was just begging for football to be back. So welcome back, everybody. Glad you're here. You're stuck with both of us again. So we are coming off of a Colorado victory. We are coming off of me getting to gloat and be excited as hell in a video. So I'm super excited about that. Lots of things to get into. And so I just want to start with the basic thing of how was it driving to this event instead of like taking a flight and doing all the layovers and doing all the things? How was it for you driving, knowing, and you showed it in your video, which I will continue to tag because I believe in giving people credit for their content. But anyways, we'll get into that in a minute. How was the drive for you? Was it different? How did you feel driving in as opposed to like flying in and doing things like that?
Right. So this trip was a lot different. Um, so we left on Friday, but that Thursday I had to leave. I live in Florida, so I had to drive up to Georgia to go to my parents' house and stay there to avoid the hurricane, which really didn't do much damage to my area in Tallahassee. But after that, we drove from South Georgia down to Orlando. The drive wasn't bad at all. Just along the way, we saw a lot of trees that had been fallen and a lot of billboard signs had fallen as well. A lot of damage in that area.
So you did a lot of drive. How far was it from Tallahassee to Georgia?
About a 2-hour drive.
Okay, so 2 hour. Okay. Listen,
Yeah,
in
2 hours.
Texas, anytime you're like, I have to drive, just add about 4 to 5 hours just off top. So that's why for me, I was like, oh no, how long did you drive? Okay, so that was different than I guess to like be in your own vehicle, be in the comforts of your own stuff where you got to go in there.
Right.
So before we get into your experience and things like that, I want to address kind of the elephant in the Twitter sphere, whatever the word is people taking your content and not tagging you in the content. I think I have seen the Cam Newton video probably 10, 15 times. I think I've seen maybe 3 tags that video came from you. And there's other things that I've seen that I was pretty sure came from you. And then I figured out it did come from you after watching your actual vlog on your channel, which I will have his stuff at the bottom here and I will tag his channel again. But how do you feel? Like, what are you thinking about how all this is happening with like the stealing content and just not simply just adding a tag on it to say, I got this video from so-and-so?
Right. So when I think about things like this, it's just like, first off, I create content for the world to see. I want the world to see my content. But at the same time, I want recognition as well. You know, when you work so hard and put so much into, traveling and funding different things, and to have your work just stolen without credit or, a simple at or mention, it hurts. But we are handling that situation, the proper way, and, copyright details and all that good stuff. But
good.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I was shocked to see how many views it had, honestly.
It's sad. So as a professor, I obviously I teach like citing your work and giving people credit. And just because you're giving somebody credit, it doesn't lessen anything that you're doing. I mean, on my thumbnails, if I use somebody else's picture, I always in the comments, I'm like, this picture came from here. I don't remove, watermarks or any of those things. But I think what people miss here is the opportunity that you're helping them and you're giving them content. They could also help you by tagging you as well. And it feels like we forget that this is supposed to be a bridge. This isn't a us versus you. This is the simple, hey, I'm here. I'm sharing this with the world. All you have to do is say photo by or video by or whatever. So it's not that hard. So if anybody is listening to this, steals people content, just tag the person. Like, just tag them.
Just tag.
It's okay.
Simple tag. Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. And I feel like two bigger channels and bigger news outlets are worse at this, which is actually sad because they don't think anybody's going to do anything. So yeah, moving forward, if you're watching this and you are stealing other people's content, the least you could do is tag them in the content, like the very least you could do. So I will get off that soapbox, but I need to say it now because it's that important.
I forgot to mention, I don't know if I told you, but Sports Center actually reached out to me. Surprisingly, they were the only ones that reached out to me in my DM twice and asked to use my content. So
good. Absolutely.
Yeah, they were the only ones.
Yeah.
They were the only ones.
And can we just take this a step further? Like, part of this is growth, right? And in order for you to grow and in order for you to get recognition, you need those big outlets to tag you in it, because that's the whole, that I don't want to say that's your whole purpose, but that is a part of the purpose. Is the more you get out there, the more people will come to you for content, and it helps you. And I just think that we forget, like, we spend so much time just trying to take. Like, let's be part of the solution for people. Like, let's help people get to where they want to go and do things. And that is why every time you send me a picture, I put it as a thumbnail and I'm like, photo taken by. Like, right. This isn't mine. I used it. So anyways, so good for Sports Center. So I hope they used it. I hope they tagged you and did everything they were supposed to do. Glad to see they did, because there was a lot of big outlets that did not, and that's disappointing. So you'll take care of that. You'll handle that. We'll get off this soapbox. But Big Noon was in Orlando. Was that your first Big Noon experience? How was it for you? I saw in your video, it was very humid, it looked like. But how was that experience for you, and how was the weather?
Yeah, so this was my second Big Noon experience. The first was last season at the first Colorado home game. But this year, this was the first time ever coming to Florida for a Big Noon kickoff. And it was extremely hot. As you can see in the video, I was sweating the whole time. It was hard to breathe. There's so many people out just walking by, so I as you can see, like, I made it through the crowd pretty quickly, I couldn't stand in that, that.
I love it. I love that. So one thing I have a question about is how I think you maybe answer this, because I feel myself already saying this. How soon do you get to go into the stadium before they're allowing fans into the stadium? Did I answer? I think that's what I'm trying to say. As media, how soon do you get to get in there, as opposed to, like, because I think normal game times usually like 90 minutes or 2 hours or something like that. What is it for you?
So it's 3 hours for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So you get in there early. They're being whatever with you when you have your whatever. If you want to see the video, it's in the video. So you get in there, and I said this offline, I'm going to say it again. There's only been certain players in all of professional sports that I've ever been very interested and fascinated to just see how large of a human they are. The first one is Shaq, because he's huge. And if you don't like Shaq, like, he's a humongous human being. So seeing him in person, I was like, okay, I understand. The second person, which will probably shock a lot of people, is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is a huge human. If you ever see him in person, he is massive. And so there's that. The third person on that list is Cam Newton. And I have been able to see Cam Newton, which is kind of funny. I was able to see him compared to Big Ben. And I thought Big Ben was huge. And then I saw Cam Newton and Ben, and I was like, okay, like, wow. So how was it for you, like, seeing Cam Newton? I think you got a picture with him. I think you did.
Yeah. This was my second time meeting Cam. The first time was during his almost perfect season with the Carolina Panthers in 2015. I met him after the Atlanta Falcons game, which they had lost, unfortunately. But yeah, Cam is a specimen. He's huge. He's huge.
He is. And it was interesting seeing the picture and just seeing all the videos of him. He's just looks different. And Derrick Henry's the same. Like, if anybody's ever able to just, like, see Derrick Henry in clothes, like, obviously in the uniform he looks massive, but just like in clothes, like, some of these guys are just like, are we created by the same person?
Right.
How did you have all the things? So anyways, so I just wanted to shout out that. And the other thing I will say is, this, people probably are starting to realize this about me. I don't like to get into the who said, she said, did they speak, did they have, was it weird? I don't care. Whatever it was what it was. You have the video, make whatever assumptions you want. So for those of you that are listening that are wondering if I'm going to ask the question, I'm not, because I don't care. So I'm moving on about that. The other thing I want to mention that I thought was interesting in this scenario was the rain delay. So do you remember how long the rain delay was? And then what did you do for the time? Obviously I saw in the video like where you were, but like, did you get to eat? Did you sit there? Did you get to charge your phone? Like, what did you do during that time when there was the rain delay?
Right. So like before the game, of course, as I'm on the field, I can see the dark clouds coming. I'm like, oh no, please don't rain, please don't rain. And then we get through the pregame, all that good stuff, and warming up, and all of a sudden, the bottom falls out. Everybody runs towards the tunnel. I'm near the Colorado tunnel, and the staff is just like, you can't be on the field, so just go in the tunnel because it's a lightning delay, and they don't want
Oh,
anybody to get hurt. So I sat there for, I want to say about an hour. Next thing
okay.
I know, Rick Ross walks by, and I'm just like, okay,
Awkward.
yeah,
Hey.
very awkward, but it was really cool. As you can see in the video, but in the tunnel, the players were there, just trying to mentally get themselves prepared, and
Yeah.
we didn't know when the rain was going to stop or if it was going to stop. As you can see, Shador started warming up, throwing in the tunnel as well, but
Yeah.
yeah, we just chilled in the tunnel. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was gonna tell a story, but I like when chaos kind of happens in the world because it's a reminder that we're all normal and we're all the same we're all people. And
Right.
so rain is falling, we're all hiding. Like it doesn't matter how much
Yeah.
money you make, it doesn't matter if you're an athlete, a person, it doesn't matter. Hide. Like go somewhere and hide. So I love those moments of life where we just all come together. It also happens like in the New York subway where it's just like nobody cares who you are. Just get on this freaking subway. We have to go.
Right. Yeah.
So we got to go to our next spot. So the game starts. Did you notice? Before this, we were talking about how it's called the bounce house.
Mhm.
On camera, what we were seeing, you could see it. Like you could see the stadium moving because the camera was moving. Did you see that being in there, or did you not see that at all?
No, I honestly didn't see it
Interesting.
at all. I saw a lot of people jumping, but I didn't, notice the shaking of the stadium or the stands or anything. No.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, because I was looking around, I'm like, this can't be safe. And then,
Yeah.
of course, I'm like, am I overreacting? But then when I saw the cameras, I was like, no, it's not just me. It's actually moving.
Wow. Wow. I did not
Yeah,
know.
interesting. And maybe because your field level,
Mhm.
you didn't really get to see. I don't know. So the game starts and started with Colorado getting the ball and Shador throwing an interception. How are you feeling? What was the feeling in the stadium just in the first quarter? Like how did it feel for you?
Well, first, let me mention that UCF Stadium isn't that big.
Mm,
So they played on way bigger stages, and the crowd really wasn't a factor at all. Don't
okay.
get me wrong; they were loud once he threw an interception, but it didn't last long. Um,
Yeah.
but I wasn't worried at all. I was just like, okay, come on, Shador, let's
Yeah.
regroup, and then the defense comes out, makes a great
Gets an
stand, and
interception. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm just like, oh, we're back in this thing.
Oh wait, did you size up the players this game? Did you look and
Oh,
go, okay,
oh,
okay. Did you do the thing?
well, I'll start with the quarterback. KJ Jefferson is huge. He's like he's very similar to Cam Newton as well. Of course, I feel like that's why Gus Malzahn wanted him to come to UCF because he reminded him of Cam Newton and his
Right.
body frame and stature and what he could do on the field. Uh,
Fair.
he's a little heavier, but if KJ Jefferson is huge, but his offensive line was massive, like 6'6", 6'5"
Oh,
type guys.
interesting.
I
Okay.
was like, okay, these guys are huge. They're making him look small. This guy's big. But
Love that. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then was there any point in the game where you were like, okay, guys, like I heard what you said in your video, like coming out at halftime and stuff like that. But was there any point where you were just kind of like, I don't know what this is yet, so let's go? Or were you just kind of like, let me just wait this out and see what this is going to look like and how this is going to end?
Once I seen Travis score the first touchdown and he's dancing and he's
You
giving us
felt
his
good.
energy, I'm like, okay, he wants to show out. He's in front of his family. A lot of friends are out here as well, so it was very competitive
Yeah.
because they want to outperform each other. And
Right.
I feel like once Will Shepherd got his touchdown, the energy definitely shifted. It
Good.
shifted. Yeah.
Good. I was happy for Will. I feel
Yeah.
like it was especially after that last game when he dropped that pass and stuff like that. Like that's the joys of sports. Is it's not like we're all going to everyone's going to have those moments where you're like, what the F, but it's how you like kind of bounce back from that, what the F. So kudos to him for going out there. And he looked confident. I think that's the other thing. Sometimes when guys do things that, seem to be very easy to like catch the ball and you don't, I'm curious to see like how they're going to come back out. So that's good.
Right.
What did you notice? Did you notice anything during the game or anything that like we couldn't see on TV? Because my gripe about TV is we literally see pretty close to nothing when it comes to like what's happening in the stadium, or sometimes we don't even know who's hurt on the field. Like we're seeing graphics and all kinds of stuff. So there's just a lot of things we're not able to see.
I will say that two of our weak spots in the beginning of the season, the defensive line and linebackers, they were moving.
Good.
They were moving. I'm pretty sure you could see, the sacks and the stops on TV, but just being there and seeing them, they were moving fast. And also the running backs were very shifty. 29, he was doing his thing. 29 was doing his thing.
So you're saying they look. So what I'm hearing, because I want to get excited, but I want to make sure this is what you're saying. You're seeing them get better from what you saw against North Dakota State. Like you're visually seeing them. Yes. Okay, good. Yes. Good. Okay.
And you remember we talked about the pursuit drill around that time, around week 1. They've definitely been working on the pursuit drill. Everybody's getting to the ball fast. So good. That's always great.
I've never played football, obviously, but one thing I've noticed is once teams figure it out, they usually always have it figured out, if that makes sense. Like, but of course, this Colorado team, like, don't know. I think I said in my video, I'm really excited. This looked good. All the things. I don't know who we are still, though. Like, I think we're a lot of the UCF game mixed a little bit in with Baylor, mixed a little bit in with the grit of North Dakota State, I think. But I can't ignore Nebraska. So that's I don't know who this team is. So I'm just trying to figure it out. Yeah. And as long as you say in person, you can kind of see them evolving. That's the word I'm looking for. You can see it evolving.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They were definitely gelling together. BJ Green, he stood out to me. He was coming off the ball, explosive, pressuring the quarterback, and that's what you want to see from a player like him. Yeah.
So we usually do this. Who would you give like game balls for, whatever? So it sounds like defense is BJ Green. Obviously, we know the rules here. We can't say Travis. We can't say Shador for offense or for anything ever. Right, so who would you give it? Who would you give it to on offense?
On offense, I would have to say Will Shepherd. I'll give him the game ball for the offense this game. He really made a great play. A great play, which I feel is going to give him more confidence towards the remaining of the season. And we have so many weapons on that offense. It's just like, you have to come out and play every game and make a name for yourself. And I feel like he did that this game.
Yeah, I like that. If I could give my 5-game award, is actually going to go to Jordan Seaton, because I feel like without an anchor, nothing else matters. And yes, they gave up 8 sacks the week before. They did look like, yes, all of that is true, but none of that was on Jordan Seaton. And I cannot commend that young man enough, because that's brilliant. And he's a freshman, so history tells you he's going to probably have a game or two eventually where he plays like a freshman. But let's say he never does. Kudos to that young man for like coming in, stepping up, anchoring that left tackle position, which, depending on who you ask, would say it's one of the harder positions to play on the offensive line. So I just want to credit him because I feel like the offensive line gets no credit for anything, but they get all the bashing if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And so, like, kudos to Jordan Seaton for just, stepping up and holding down his spot. And that's what you need to do. Just everybody focus on your job.
Right.
Focus on what you're supposed to do. The other thing I noticed is the offensive line shifting. I don't know if you noticed that when the game got played of like who was shifting and who was on the O-line. Did you notice that there was an O-line change or?
Honestly, no. I didn't notice. Yeah.
It's what that's why we do this, because there's things you see. There's things which is good. I think Vincent was out. And so we had some different guys on the offensive line, which again, offensive line looked fine. We're now on a bye week. What are you looking forward to when they play Kansas State that you like, since we're on a bye week, what are you feeling now that you've seen this Colorado team? I don't know if you've watched any Kansas State, but like, what are you looking forward to like as the season goes on?
I'm looking forward to seeing how the coaches handle this situation, how they game plan, how they prepare their players, because I feel like this is going to be the difference heading into the long term of the season. What schemes are they going to create in order to stop this explosive Kansas State offense? How are they going to slow down Dylan Edwards? Because we know they're going to give Dylan Edwards the ball, but I feel like they have enough time and they're going to get enough rest to be ready for the Kansas State, So,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. I didn't know if you were going to go there with coaching, but I agree. Like this, I feel like the rest of the schedule, that's all this is about. Yes, your players have to go make plays and all the stuff. Yes, that has to happen. But the foundation of this is, what is the game plan? And does it make sense? And let's figure out what that looks like. So that's awesome. The other thing I wanted to ask you, and I have on my sticky notes here, is about after the game's over, and what are the rules to rushing on the field when you're in media? Is it just like as soon as the clock hits 0, you can do whatever you want to do, or?
Yeah, you can run. You're supposed to, it's pregame, run on the field.
Okay.
But you always know, of course, be respectful of the players' spaces and stuff like that. But yeah, as you can see the cameras just all in the coaches' faces, and it's security's like back up. But it's
okay,
free for all.
Okay. Because the other thing I really liked on your video, and I'm not going to give too much away here, is the extra time we got to see Shador and Travis just being them, right? And like, we know who they are on the field. I notoriously say, I don't care what you do outside of that field. Like, I care about what you do on the field. And those little things are the things I like to see when you're on the field. You know what I mean? Like, you go, you take care of business, game's over, and then the love and all the other stuff. Like, I love seeing that. So first of all, never stop showing that. But second of all, like, I love seeing that side of it, because we don't often see it in raw form of just, I'm tired, my body hurts, but these people are here for me, and I'm going to go, love on them and show them that love. So thanks for showing that. And then the other thing is, was it Travis Hunter that was limping to get on the bus in the video? Because he got rolled up on, I think, at the end of that game.
Yeah, and just running around so much during the game, your adrenaline is kicking in, and you don't really feel anything until after, and you stop, and it's like, oh wow, that hurts. This hurts. Ow.
Yeah.
But that's a part of the game that I want to show as well, because that's, like you said, that's the realistic side of the game. Their bodies take so much beating up, and it makes sense for Travis to sit out 2 practices a week, in order to recover.
100%. I think the other thing is, when I'm watching your video, I'm seeing an athlete go through their job, for lack of a better word. Like, I'm seeing them warm up a little looser, just getting loose, getting their bodies loose, how much time that takes. Great. Then I'm seeing them still have to talk to people and do their thing. Then I see them go back and come back. Now they're in uniform. Now they're getting loose again. And now they're going through another routine. And now they're stretching. It's like, I don't think we think about how much they are going through of just getting up to go, and then it rains. And so even when it's raining, though, they're still spending time. I don't care if they're doing the littlest of little things, but they're still like actively kind of moving around and getting their bodies ready to go. And then obviously you go play a game, and then after the game, you still have time and compassion to go show love and go do all those things. And then at the very end of that, they're, in their hoodies and other outfits, and they're still, maybe walking a little slower, but they're still have this armor on of I'm still this person. So now I have to go and I'm going to do this. I'm going to smile. It's like, it's so taxing. And I just don't think people realize it. And I also just want to say, that is why I try not to fall in love with players. It's because I know they go through a lot. And if I see that, my expectation of them is I'm like, oh, I know you're probably tired. I don't want to feel that way. I'm a tough critic. I want to always be tough. And I know they're humans, but if I, for a second, I'm like, oh, poor guy, I'm done. So it's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So is there anything else that you want to tell us? Oh, also, shout out to you. So one of the things, if you haven't watched any of his vlogs, go watch them now. One of the things that you do so well that I appreciate, that I know I'm always going to get, are the pans to the different things. So the pan to the audience, or the in-game activity, if it's the dancers dancing on the fields, or random kid one is so fascinated with you. It's so, all of those things make the content phenomenal. So thank you for that, because I feel like it also
I can't hear you. Sorry.
Oh, am I breaking up?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. I was just saying, I think it just is a reflection off you, first of all, because you're showing us all the things that we wouldn't get to see. And it just feels like we're there. It kind of feels like we're with you. So I like it. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you want to share? I'm just checking my notes to make sure I asked you all the things that I said I was going to ask you, or did I forget to ask you anything? Because I do that.
Well, I feel like this game will always be very special in Travis Hunter's career, being that he did hit the Heisman pose. As going back in history, let's just say Desmond Howard, his infamous Heisman pose is something that's always been replayed and shown on different platforms. And even, I grew up in the early 2000s, and just I can still relate to seeing Desmond Howard.
Me too.
Hit a Heisman pose. It's like, that means something. And I feel like Travis's Heisman pose in Florida, it's that game will always be, something very near and dear to him. So
yeah, I love that. And is there anything that you plan on doing during the bye week, now that you have a free week to do whatever you want on Saturday?
Well, I do have the option to go to either FSU game or UGA game, so I'm still deciding right now.
Who does Georgia play this week?
I want to say Georgia plays Auburn. I'm not exactly sure. I think they play Auburn.
Okay, that's fair.
But
we'll in 2 weeks we know who they play. Wait, 3 weeks we know who they play.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave that where it's at for now. Okay, so they play, and then who does Florida State play?
I want to say they play Clemson. So DJ Uyunglele.
Clemson would probably be a better game than Auburn. Auburn. Have you seen Auburn?
But FSU is bad this year as well. That's
but I wouldn't go for FSU. I would go to see Clemson.
Oh, you're going to see Clemson?
Yeah, I think Clemson is going. I think Clemson's going to have a chance at the ACC championship just based off of their schedule. Yeah. I think them and Miami are on a collision course to play the ACC championship. But I guess you could say that about. I mean, it is Georgia. I mean, no one ever gets mad at watching Georgia play football. It's just whatever. But I am keeping my Georgia watching to a minimum in a lot of ways. I'm not really. That's a lie. I've been watching a lot of them, but I've also that's totally a lie because I'm scouting. But also, they're the gold standard. Well, obviously Alabama just beat them, but I like watching high level quality football, and it just makes it better when I know my team is going to get a crack at it. So I'm like,
you know what? I'm sorry. I have to stop you there. I have to applaud you. and this is also something I wanted to mention as well. Uh, Being a woman in sports is not easy, and I want to
Mm,
applaud you right now.
thanks.
There was a NFL scout at the game who was a woman, and I was just blown away. It was my first time seeing it. I was like, "You go, girl, do it to
I
do," you
love
know.
that.
But I really love that, and I want to give you your flowers right now, you know,
Yeah.
and continue doing what you're doing. And I really enjoy being here. So
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. I will keep do I always tell everybody I'm opinionated. You don't have to like my opinion, but I can promise you I'm going to be consistent. So everybody is fair game, including myself. So that's just how I roll. But anyways, I just appreciate talking to you every week. It's been fun. Who knows? Maybe we'll find something to talk about during the bye week. Maybe we can make up something. Maybe we can like live stream or something just for like the bye week, just for like an hour and just like, I don't know. I'm just making things up as I go along because it sounds good.
yeah,
So,
it sounds good. I like it. I like that.
yeah, we'll figure it out. But I appreciate you. Thank you for like coming on and sharing. I'm assuming you are headed to Kansas State in 2 weeks. You shouldn't have an issue with like getting in or any of that because it's in Colorado. That was going to be my next thing. It's like how they're already going crazy with the media, but it's in Colorado, so you should be fine.
Yeah,
Because now,
my
yeah,
only
and
issue is
now,
the game start time. It's at
oh,
8:15,
it
and
is late.
my flight is at 12:55 a.m. So hopefully we finish the game in time to catch my flight. Or
Is
I have
there
to
any way you're going to catch that flight?
it is possible. The last home game. Now that was
When it
impossible
went
for
to
me.
overtime, what time did the game actually end?
Oh gosh. I want to say around 10:40, maybe 10:40.
Okay, well, maybe the only thing that might help is that Kansas State will run the ball more than Baylor did. So this game should because Baylor threw the ball a ton, and Kansas State's going to run the ball. They're going to, and that's a whole different conversation for a different day because they're not UCF. It's a whole different team, but whatever. So that should help with the clock moving. And hell, this new Colorado team might run the ball. So if they run the ball, the clock moves fast. That's why I always tell people, I'm like, it's not just about running the ball. It's about managing the clock because that's your worst enemy. When you're losing and when you're winning, it's your best friend. Utilize it. So anyways, let me get off that soapbox. But I appreciate you. We'll talk again soon. And you don't get to like not engage with me just because the team is off this week. Okay. I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with him, everyone. Like everyone gives me so much crap. I'm like, we're cool, we're friends. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
I love this.
I joke. Yeah, like I joke often. He gets it. So just for everybody listening that thinks that like he's not being held his own against his will, I'm joking. We'll figure this out. Anyways, thanks for joining.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course.